Hello, my name is Joshua Seigal and I am a poet, and I'm really excited to be here today for the fantastic Chiswick Book Festival. So a big thank you for the Chiswick Book Festival for inviting me here today to share with you some of my poems. Now what I have planned for you is actually a little bit different to what I was originally going to do. I was originally going to talk to you about some of my poetry books, because I have many published poetry books published by Bloomsbury, published by Troika Books, published by Flying Eye. So if you want, it's very easy to go online and go on my website and to have a look at some of those poetry books. But what I think I will do for you today is actually share with you some unpublished poems. So I have with me today some poetry that is not published in any of my poetry books. So these poems are exclusive for you today. One or two of them might be available to view on my website, but lots of them will be exclusive for you today. Now I should say I'm talking in August 2020, so it may be that at some point in the future a few of these poems may end up in a poetry book or two, but at the moment these poems are exclusive and they are unpublished. So that's quite exciting. Now the first poem I'm going to do needs a little bit of explanation. Now you might have noticed this. Now this is very special. This is called the Lollies Book Awards, and at the beginning of the year in 2020, one of my books, the book which is called I Bet I Can Make You Laugh, that book won the Lollies Poetry Awards. I think, if I'm correct, it's one of the first poetry books ever to win this award, and the award is for funny children's books. So you may have gathered from that lots of my poems are intended to be funny. However, I think it's really important to realise that not all poetry is funny. Certainly not all my poems are funny. So with that in mind, the first exclusive poem I would like to share with you today, this poem is called This Poem Isn't Funny. And it goes like this. This poem isn't funny. It involves no comedy, even if you read it while you're dangling from a tree. It has no funny elements. It will not make you laugh, even were a monkey to declaim it in the bath. This poem has no giggles. It contains no funny words like bippy, blimp, or blabbermouth, or nincompoop, or nerd. It really's not amusing and won't make you feel happy. You're likelier to get your jollies from a dirty nappy. Yes, if you want to chuckle, then you'd best consult a clown. This poem isn't funny. It will only bring you down. So very important, not all poetry is funny. And this next poem contains some important advice. There are lots of things you should never do, for example. You should never lick a cactus. That's really important. And what I decided to do was take some of this really important advice and to cram it all into a poem about things that you should never do. And it goes like this. You can actually have quite a fun time writing your own version of this poem. So what I'd like you to do is listen very carefully, and if you like, what you can do once you've heard this poem is to click pause on the video and have a go at writing your own version of things that you should never ever do. And it goes like this. Never lick a cactus, never hug a skunk, never munch a mattress, never mug a monk, never kick a cantaloupe, never wreck a rock, never axe an antelope, never slurp a sock, never swim in lava, never tickle frogs, never poke your father, never pickle dogs, never nudge a garden gnome, never bark at miss, and never read a poem as ridiculous as... What's the final word, everyone? Never read a poem as ridiculous as this. So what poets like when we finished our poems, basically poets love, we love attention. So I know this is just a video, this is not live, but if you would, it would make me feel really, really happy if I thought that at the end of this poem, people would be giving me a round of applause. So after each of the poems that I'm going to do for you today, what would be really fantastic is if you could just give me a quick round of applause. So let's practice that. Off we go. Thank you very much. This next poem is actually available to read on my website. So it's not technically completely unpublished. It is published on my website, but it is not available in any of my poetry books. And this poem has quite a long title. The poem is called My Mum is in Love with a Hideous Beast. I'll repeat that title because I think it's quite a good title. Of all my poems, it's probably the one with my favourite title. The poem is called My Mum is in Love with a Hideous Beast. And it goes like this. I'm just having a stretch. It goes like this. My mum is in love with a hideous beast. It only comes over at night. When I'm under my covers, I hear the two lovers kissing away out of sight. My mum is in love with a terrible troll, or perhaps it is some kind of ghoul. Round about 10 o'clock, I hear keys in the lock, but it's gone when I wake up for school. I find little love letters all round the flat, and strange little notes on the wall. The beast calls her Honey, and darling sweet bunny. I don't like this creature at all. Why isn't Mum scared out of her wits? Why doesn't she wail and yell? If it came in my room, I'll grab a big broom and I'll bludgeon its brains to hell. So I asked my mum about the beast. She said there's no need to get mad. She said I was foolish. The creature's not ghoulish. She said it was only my dad. My mum is in love with a curious man, and it seems that at last I know who. My dad left those letters. If I knew him better, then maybe I'd love my dad too. So that poem is called My Mum is in Love with a Hideous Beast. And I'm going to read, basically what I'm going to do, I've got a whole pile of poems here, a whole pile of unpublished poems, and I'm just going to read a few of them until I run out of time. I can talk forever and ever. I could probably talk all day if I had to. So this poem is called Don't Get Me Started. This is another poem that you might like to have a go at being inspired by, and maybe having a go at writing your own version of this poem. What I thought I would do for this poem is basically think of lots of different things that make me angry. And there are lots of things that make me angry. And in this poem, what I do is I talk about them. So once again, after this poem, if you'd like to click pause on the video, once you've given me my rounds of applause, of course, if you'd like to click pause on the video and write your own version of the poem, that would be absolutely fantastic, if that is what you feel like doing. This poem is called Don't Get Me Started, and it goes like this. When people chew their food too loud, when you look outside and see the clouds, when people fuss and fight in crowds, don't even get me started. When biscuits fall in cups of tea, when mum goes on a cleaning spree, whenever teachers pick on me, don't even get me started. Waiting in an airport queue, when chocolate melts and turns to goo, no toilet paper in the loo, don't even get me started. Wi-Fi signals that get lost, summer sun that turns to frost, poems with irregular rhyme schemes. Don't even get me started. So give me my round of applause. That's what poets like. Round of applause. And if you like, what you can do is you can use a chorus in your poem. So the chorus could be, this really makes me angry, or don't even get me started, or something like, don't annoy me. And then you could use that as a chorus, and thinking of the poem I just wrote, you could go back, you could watch it if you like, and just write a list of things that make you angry. A very simple way of writing a poem. Now, one of the things I like to do as a poet, one of my main activities as a poet probably, is to visit lots and lots of schools. That's what I do. Maybe one day, hopefully, I might even come to one of your schools. And when I visit schools, I get asked lots and lots of questions. And the second most common question I get asked, the most common question I get asked is actually very boring. How old are you? Sir, how old are you? Children are very interested in how old I am. I don't know why. If anyone is good at maths, you can work it out. I was born on the 27th of October, 1986. So if any of you are good at maths, you can work out how old I am. But the second most common question I get asked is, where do I get my ideas from? And this poem is about that. This poem is called Ideas. I think this poem is also available to read on my website if you'd like to check out my website. It's www.joshuaseigal.co.uk. And Seigal is spelt Seigal, very important. And ideas basically come along to me at night often. So this poem is inspired by this. It's called, can you guess the title? It's called Ideas. And it goes like this. Ideas pitch up in the night when you are half asleep. They sneak in from your bedroom window, then begin to creep deep inside your body and arouse your drowsy mind. You must sit up and catch them quickly. If you don't, you'll find that in the morning they have scarpered just as you had feared. They came along so suddenly, but now they've... I don't know what you're waiting for. The poem's finished. Maybe there was a word at the end there that went away. I'm not sure. What poem do we have next? I'm not sure what's next in the list. Oh, this poem is very important. I think I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've got a couple of interesting. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do a non-rhyming poem. Very important. Poems do not have to rhyme. So this poem is all about shadows. Very mysterious things, aren't they? Shadows. And this poem is not on my website. It's not in any book yet. Remember, this is August 2020. So if you're watching this video in 2022 or 2023, maybe it is published. But at the moment, it's unpublished. And this poem is called Shadow. And it goes like me. Oh, it just went a bit dark there. Did you see? Shadow. Did you see a shadow under there? I don't know. The poem's called Shadow. I think, did I mention that enough, that the poem is called Shadow? It goes like this. It follows me, and yet it's not a part of me. It does the things I do, and yet remains a darker hue. What is this thing that stretches and contorts and shapes itself to my movements, that seems to know me so intimately? Who is this spectre that wraps around my presence like a whisper? Shadow. I would love to get to know you, but when I reach for you, you somehow slip away, ethereally, like the final note of some escaping melody. So you can give me my round of applause. I'm going to do two more poems. Very exciting. I'm going to do this poem is about secrets. These two poems are quite mysterious, aren't they? Secrets. Again, as with all these poems, it's wonderful if you feel like you would like to be inspired by what I have to say. So after this poem, you might like to write a poem about your very own secrets. But these are a poem, this is about my secrets. This poem is called... So I'm stretching my back. It's that's better. That's better. This poem. My cat just looked at me there. I made a strange noise. This poem is called "My Secret Is," and it goes like this: My secret is the burning globe inside my chest, the eagle chick without a nest, the dagger poised above my head, the centipede beneath the bed, the paw prints of some distant bear, the creaking of a rocking chair, the cackle heard across the plain, the twisting of a dusty lane, the nameless baby in a well, the thing that I can never tell. Round of applause, thank you very much. I'm going to end with this poem. This poem is a bit of a scary poem. I like to write scary poems. One of my favourite things to do when I visit schools is to see if I could do really scary poems and to make children cry. If the poems are I don't like to make children cry. That's a very bad thing to do. But what I do like to do is make them jump. I like poems that are a little bit scary. And if you're watching this video, you are probably watching this video over something very big, something very important. And that very big, very important thing is called the internet. And the internet is very, very powerful. It's very, very big. And this is a scary poem. This is going to be my final poem. This poem is called The Internet is Watching. You could do that in a robot voice if you like. It goes, the internet is watching. That hurts my throat a bit, so I don't think I'm going to do that. Did I tell you what it's called? It's called The Internet is Watching, and it goes like this. It knows the times you sleep and wake, and when you work and take a break, and every choice you ever make. The internet is watching. It clocks the things you say and do. With prying eyes it spies on you and launches a surveillance coup. The internet is watching. It tracks you with its laser sight, observing you both day and night. Forever trapped, you can't take flight. The internet is watching. Its pincers poke inside your brain. You can't opt out, you can't abstain. So mind your step and don't complain. The internet is watching. And you're watching the internet as well. And you've just been watching me, Joshua Seigal. That's seigal.co.uk. If you want to visit my website, it's www.joshuaseigal.co.uk. One or two of the poems I read might be available on the website. Lots of other ones are nowhere They're nowhere yet other than this video. So thank you so much to the Chiswick Book Festival, and I will hopefully be seeing you all again very, very soon. Thank you very much.